Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Godzilla Rant. First off, I wanted to mention that there's a huge sale going on right now, all you comic book fans out there. If you go to the website milehighcomics.com, again that's milehighcomics.com, there they have slashed all of their back issues up to 75% off the already sale price that they have. That is huge, absolutely huge. I love my hot comics. I tend to do an annual shopping spree there where I order a whole bunch of comics, usually around 50 to 100 comics, but it's once a year. That way I get to experience a whole slew of comics and titles that I normally wouldn't, and I wait for these specials that come along. So I sign up for the newsletter, so this is why I get such alerts like this. I started a few days back, and I'll probably have it going on for about a week or so. So if you have a chance, again, go to myhotcomics.com. And there you'll see over 8 million comics to choose from that have been slashed up to 75% off. And no, I'm not getting any comp or anything associated with this. I'm just a fan of their model. I love the fact that Chuck essentially started his business from nothing and grew it to the base, the huge base that it is now. It's the single largest comic book distributor out there, comic book retailer out there. And they have a huge online presence coupled with several mega stores. So, and it all comes from them having good customer service, and I've enjoyed their business for the past couple of years. So, highly recommended for everyone else out there. Check them out. But that's a lead-in actually to what my Godzilla Rant video is going to be about, and that's essentially about comic book stores versus everything else. I used to love going to comic book stores because I loved going on a weekly basis and finding out the latest issues for my subscriptions and purchasing them, reading them, and then continuing the cycle on a weekly basis. The problem, though, is anyone that has been collecting comics these past couple of years knows these things are pretty damn expensive. I mean, the comic book prices now average about $2, $3, or $4, and they're going really into the $3, $4 range per issue. And the reason why this rant is the comic book store versus everywhere else is it's a medium that has never really adapted to the huge internet presence and the huge mailing presence, not to mention the digital comics that are all competing for the same audience, and comic book stores are losing left and right. And even with everything happening with regards to other competition, they've just never been able to adapt to any other model other than continuing to stock their supplies on the shelves and hope for an audience to grow out of there. And it's really, I mean, it's baffling because even with this huge surge of comic book movies, one would think, okay, that should translate to a whole new audience going to the comic book stores. No, sir. The problem with that is, while comic book movies are enjoying huge blockbusters left and right, I mean, we're talking revenues going past $1 billion in some cases with regards to the Iron Man and the Batman films. The problem is the audience is loving the movies, but they're just not shifting over to the comic book field. And so because of this, comic book stores are stuck in the middle where they have these prices again that are in the $3, $4 range. Why would anybody who's, let's say, just saw Iron Man 3, who likes that world, wants to get into it and learn more about it, why would they pay $4 for something that's only about 20 pages long? And then on top of that, it's a quick read. It's done in about 2 minutes. $4 gone down the drain just like that, when they could instead use those funds to, let's say, I don't know, buy the mobile game or purchase some other miscellaneous Iron Man stuff rather than the comic book stuff. So again, it's frustrating because I love the idea of the comic book store. It's just they've got to adopt their model. They've got to shift to something that will associate the presence with the audience without being so damn expensive. And that's the main reason why I quit, was because it was getting to where it was $50 to $60 on a weekly basis just to have the usual subscription titles that I have. I usually have about maybe 7 titles or so that I was collecting on a weekly basis. And whenever I kept ringing. I kept seeing the prices. It was like almost coming $50 to $60, and I was like, wow! If I add this up, I'm spending over $200 a month on comic books, and that's more than, let's say, basic cable. That's more than internet. That's more than my phone bill. That's also the problem is, again, if you have something that's $4 and only lasts a couple of minutes, and you charge that per issue, when someone compares it against, let's say, would you rather have a smartphone with digital data, unlimited digital data, or a couple of comics each month? It's easy to see, what people would select. Or would you rather have this, or Netflix with Hulu and maybe Amazon Prime, all for a lesser price? Again, it's easy to see the stuff that people would select. When you have a couple of comics compared to another form of entertainment that could last for so many more hours on a monthly basis, which would you rather choose? And also, what's frustrating about the comic book world is that there's a phrase for it, it's called a zero-sum game, where no new audience is really being built, as I was mentioning earlier. So stuff is being cannibalized. So the internet comics, like Comixology, are eating up sales from, let's say, the retail stores, the comic book stores, and then the comic book stores are eating up sales of existing customers from the mail order stuff like Mile High Comics, and then Mile High Comics is eating sales from the comic book stores, and then the comic book stores are eating sales from Comixology. They're all eating one another, and nobody's really creating a new audience for it. And the biggest loser is going to be the comic book stores because, again, at least the online presence and at least the mega ones that ship by mail, they offer discounts, 10, 20, 30, in some cases now 75% off, like I just mentioned. But at the comic book stores, if you go there right now, it's completely full retail price. You're not getting an inch off discount. Maybe if you go to one of the larger ones, you'll start getting 10% off, but what's that going to do? That's going to pay tax. It's not even going to probably pay the gas for you to go there. Well, otherwise you could have the stuff sent to you by mail, or you could have the stuff just loaded to your iPad. So again, it's a huge disadvantage that the comic book stores have, and it's from a business model, they just don't want to adapt. They don't want to go to something that's more friendly. One would think that the comics companies would maybe start making more digital transition towards the comic book stores. How? I don't know. I mean, I've heard that now you can have a free copy, a digital copy, if you buy it at the store, but I don't know. I mean, if you go to the trouble of buying an issue at the store and you have it in your hand, why would you want to really have it on your iPad as well? It's usually one or the other. But I don't know. There has to be some happy middle that could resolve all of this. So, what do you guys think? Have you gone to comic book stores? Is it something you're not going towards anymore? Do you wish that they would go towards another model? Are there any ideas that y'all can think of with regards to having a happy success? Eventually, I think that the comic book stores will go the way of the video store, like Blockbuster, where there'll be some that will be around, but it'll be just mainly a nostalgia factor. There'll be people that will go to these places, bar none, because they do. The one that I was going to had great customer service. It was something that I really like going to on a weekly basis. It was just the cost factor. When I did an analysis of what I could spend my money on, as opposed to what I was spending it on at the comic book store, I quickly realized, I could really get more bang for my buck elsewhere. And I hated that fact. I hated the fact that here I have somebody that's doing as much as possible to keep business, but it's just a choice. When people, if you're gonna be spending money, let's say at a hotel, to go on vacation somewhere, or you could buy some comics. What are you gonna do? It's much funner to go on vacation sometimes. So that's the kind of stuff that I imagine others feel as well. So what do you guys think? The comic book stores, are they old? Are they relics? Are they something that'll never transition to a better model? Are they going to go the way of Barnes and Nobles and other places out there where eventually they'll go down to nothing? Or will somebody find a happy medium somewhere And let us also comment as well, like, what do you guys think about your own experiences? Are you still going to the comic book stores too right now? Are you still doing the descriptions, or are you doing like me and shifting more towards online slash mail orders with regards to the own comics? So share your thoughts below, post them, share them with everybody, so that way they can all take a look and then help comment others on there too. So thanks again, everybody. Take care.